Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great week out there so far. Here to bring you the latest information that we got on what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your Tuesday. We'll discuss that, but at the beginning of this video, we will give you updated information on what's going on out there in the tropics in the Atlantic. We'll talk about current conditions in the Atlantic, the latest from the National Hurricane Center, all the overnight into this morning's model guidance that we got. And then we'll give you updated information on this cool down expected later this week into this weekend. Of course, certain areas of the country experiencing a cool down already, including my neck of the woods. We're waking up to a little bit, I would say, less humid conditions here in my neck of the woods in central South Carolina. You could tell a difference when I walked out the door this morning when I headed off to the gym. But there's a lot of areas experiencing a pretty nice morning out there for your Tuesday. But we're going to have a reinforcing shot of cool air later this week into this weekend. So we'll give you all the info on that we got from all the latest model guides. And then we will discuss what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your day and get you covered there. Timestamps are up throughout the entire video for you guys to just skip ahead to certain portions of the video that you'll want to pay attention to. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. Thank you for the support. You know, the last few videos have done very well. I mean, if we're being honest, typically the videos don't get a whole lot of views unless something significant is ongoing out there. And there really isn't. Nothing significant ongoing out there in the tropics. Nothing too crazy with severe weather. Of course, we don't have any winter storms to track. It's early September. So thank you for the people who are tuning in that's interested regardless of what the weather is doing. I'm not sure if it's the anticipated cool down or this area of interest in the Caribbean. Not sure what it is, but you guys are certainly tuning in. So thank you for trusting me with the weather. I definitely appreciate it. So with that being said, let's get rocking and rolling. So this is the Atlantic currently. I'm going to circle a couple pieces out here in the Atlantic. Let's make sure this is working. It is. So we're good to go. This is the main area we've been speaking on for the last several days, and it doesn't look very impressive. There's just some showers and storms out here in the Eastern Caribbean. It looked decently impressive yesterday evening, I would say. But this morning it has not improved from the overnight hours into this morning. And it looks about the same, just some unsettled weather in the Eastern Caribbean right now. Nothing too crazy. Now, we do have this front that's kind of draped across this region right here. And we have a lot of activity off the coast of the southeast. We still continue to have this disturbance in the northwest Gulf of Mexico right in here that, you know, could potentially be sneaky and develop, but we're not thinking it is anymore. And then we do have a lot of activity out here, including this little feature right here that could do something. But I can tell you, most model guidance has any activity that develops in this unsettled area of weather out here in the central and eastern Atlantic. Most model guidance has this turning out to sea and not really bothering anybody. So this is all the pieces out here in the Atlantic. This first one I circled is really the area that's been getting a lot of people's attention out here in the Caribbean. And of course, if you live along the Gulf coastline, the southeast coastline, and just anywhere in the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean. But, you know, over the last few days, really over the weekend, model guidance has really dropped off on this developing. Now, we still have some wacky model runs, but all in all, nothing too crazy, I would say. But we get this all back off your screen and we keep rolling here, and we give you the actual latest from the National Hurricane Center. This was about the 1:32 a.m. update from several hours ago. This has a 40% chance to develop sometime in the next 7 days. It's way out here in the eastern tropical Atlantic. If it does, as you can tell, it looks like the orange area is starting to sort of turn north. So this tells me that this is going to gain some latitude and most likely head on out to sea. But of course, we don't know exactly what it's going to do. But right now, no concern at all. When I say it has a 40% chance to develop or any percent chance to develop, what I mean by develop, I mean into a depression or a named storm. Has to have a defined low-level circulation to actually be dubbed a tropical cyclone or a tropical depression. And nothing out here does right now. So we go to this main area of interest right here. I wouldn't call it the main area of interest anymore. This is the one we've been discussing the most, I would say. But where this orange X is right here, this is where the tropical wave is in the Eastern Caribbean currently. has a 40% chance to develop in this orange area sometime in the next 7 days, maybe in the Western Caribbean, heck, maybe in the Bay of Campeche, maybe somewhere in the southern Gulf of Mexico. So it still is hanging on to that 40% chance to develop sometime in the next week. Now, I will tell you, if we go back to all, they have now pretty much took away this area of interest that was in the northwest Gulf of Mexico. So not expecting any tropical development from this. So no longer really watching that much, that piece of energy much for any kind of tropical development. But if we look at all the latest model guidance that we have, the Euro, not very impressive with this tropical wave, which is good. We're going to start off 24 hours from now. So tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, September the 4th. You see this area in green right here. I'm going to circle it here on your screen. This is our kind of main tropical wave we've been discussing over the last week, I would say. Now just kind of watch as this circled area, this blob of green, pockets of yellow and orange sort of cruises its way across the Caribbean. We keep this going here. We get into Thursday. Not much of anything. Just, like I said, a blob of moisture, tropical downpours, shower and storm activity. Expect a little bit of unsettled weather for Jamaica, for my viewers from Jamaica. But, as far as a full-fledged tropical cyclone, I'm not expecting that. We get into Friday morning, September the 6th. Still just an area of unsettled weather in the Western Caribbean. Really nothing that you can even really latch your eyes onto. So if you're just kind of listening and not able to actually watch these videos, trust me, you're not missing anything really at all. But, we start to get into Friday evening, nothing. The energy, and if I pulled up the Vort map at 500 millibars, which is basically energy in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, you could probably see the energy a lot better, but there's no real use in doing this, just because there's nothing really showing up low pressure wise, but the energy is somewhere into here. Whatever energy is left, it's somewhere over here. It might be fully over areas of Central America, Mexico at this point, but that's where it is. And in fact, we will just flip it and just kind of look. So we're just not kind of guessing where the energy is. And the actual main leftover energy is actually over southern portions of Mexico right here. So if you actually back this up, here's that main energy associated with the tropical wave right here in the yellow and the orange. Watch out, it just kind of plows right into Belize, eventually into Central America, and then areas of southern Mexico. So it never actually gets into the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, it eventually kind of getting north back into the Bay of Campeche right here. When it tries to do something again, if we actually flip it back to the precipitation map, there it is, starting to show a lot more unsettled weather like 6 days from now in the bay right here of Campeche. And then it tries to develop right into here, then sort of just merges right back into the Mexico coastline here. So I will tell you though, before we move to the GFS, if you look right up here, you'll notice there's a lot of white up here, right? There's not really any precipitation, shower, storm activity. There's a defined cutoff kind of right into here where there's moisture and where there's hardly no moisture. So that is where a front will likely be over the next several days. There's kind of a front along that area right at this moment, but there's going to be a reinforcing front that comes down. So what does that mean? Well, this means we need to watch what we call homegrown activity. When these fronts kind of come down like this, and this is a little early for this time of the year, when they kind of come down like this, a lot of energy kind of gets trapped along that frontal boundary and just south of it. So sometimes just south of these frontal boundaries, you can get kind of blobs of shower and storm activity that hang out over the Gulf of Mexico or off the coast of the southeast too long. And then they have a chance to develop into something tropical. Are we expecting this? No. Are we forecasting this? No. But could it happen? Absolutely. So that's something to watch as we get over the next several days in September. But is it anything I'm concerned about? No, that's really not. But we kind of flipped here to the GFS. What does this show? Well, same thing. You kind of keep your eyes down here. This is where our main area is, and it's not really showing much of anything, which is great to see here. But it does try to develop right before it moves into Belize, into a weak tropical depression or maybe weak storm. Cruises it over the Yucatan Peninsula. I know it's hard to see. Trust me. I know if you're thinking, man, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I wouldn't blame you one bit for thinking that. But your energy is just kind of right into here. The main actual energy in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere is probably somewhere in that circle. But you keep this going. You get a bunch of stuff that dances around down here. Does anything kind of merge back onto the Atlantic side here of Mexico? No. We get 10 days out, nothing's here. We get past 10 days and nothing gets going, guys. But once again, I do want to watch the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, you look at the run, see what the run overnight showed here. And it does eventually try to get some energy into the Gulf of Mexico right here. This is a lot of energy right here in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, but it's so far out, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Now, the run last night, the 18Z, really showed a crazy scenario where it actually wanted to relatch on to this tropical system, turn it into a hurricane, hit Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula 6 days from now, next Monday morning, cruise over the Yucatan, wants to develop energy off this stalled frontal boundary, create a landfalling tropical storm 11 days from now into Florida, then develops a major hurricane to the Bay of Campeche. So it does some crazy stuff right there. So what does the European ensembles show? Well, we'll start off for tomorrow evening. You're going to notice some L's pop up on your screen here. And yes, there is some L's right in here. We can't completely rule out something sneaky forming in the western Gulf of Mexico, just not expecting it. But you're going to see more and more L's come up down here in the Western Caribbean. I think, like we've always kind of mentioned, if we're going to get any development from this tropical wave in the near term, it's going to happen in the Western Caribbean. But of course, the Yucatan Peninsula sticks out pretty far into the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, and, the system's going to plow right into it. It's going to weaken whatever does form. And then the big question is, as we're getting into the end of this coming weekend, does anything get back into the Gulf of Mexico, or does it kind of hang out over Central America? Of course, if it gets into the Bay of Campeche or the Gulf of Mexico, then it's going to have a chance to redevelop. And you're seeing a lot of L's clustering up down here, which tells me that is something that could happen. Now, there's a front sort of draped across the northern Gulf of Mexico, so it shows just a bunch of L's down here. Doesn't mean there's multiple tropical storms. This is the European ensemble, makes up 51 members and throws it all on output for us. But shows still a pretty heightened signal for something getting going here in the Bay of Campeche or the western Gulf of Mexico. And we just extend this all the way 10 days out, and we still got some landfalling tropical systems all the way to the Gulf coastline. So don't let your guard down with this system. I think we still got some time to before we really figure out what this is going to do. So that's an update on the tropics. Now let's flip it to this cool down on the way. And I'm going to start off by just looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This is the 8th through the 12th of September. But I'm telling you, the cool down's coming before the 8th of September. It's already cool out there across the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, even areas of the Southeast, certainly the Midwest, Ohio Valley this morning. This is more so the reinforcing shot of cool air that's on the way. But below average temperatures projected in this time frame between the 8th and the 12th. So that's good. Near normal conditions returning from the middle of the country, and then above average temperatures still dominating the western U.S. Now, how cool could these temperatures be? Well, if we kind of center this right in the middle where the coolest temperatures can potentially be, we'll start off this morning. Areas of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, even down to the Mid-South, portions of the upper Southeast region, already anywhere from 2 to 3 to as much as 8 to 9 degrees below average. So it's a nice, pleasant, early September fall-like morning across the area. Now we continue. It's going to be, another decent morning tomorrow, especially for areas of the Southeast, as we have a bit of kind of cold air damming coming down from this trough that's sort of progressing to the east. This will funnel in some dry, cooler air, maybe some cloud cover. Kind of a fall-like week across the Southeast. Your low time temperatures won't be that chilly, but your daytime temperatures will pretty much be held down. But, we get in about mid to late week. We're going to have a brief warm-up before the next trough digs down. And here it is. You see how you start to get to above average temperatures this coming Thursday, a few to several degrees above average, but this does not last. But I would say below average temperatures hang around for the south and the southeast because of cloud cover mainly. But, you start to get into Friday. This is around high temperatures Friday, and look, you're 12 to almost 15 degrees below average up here in the UP of Michigan, for example. And then we start to get into Saturday morning. And if you enjoy a nice, cool start to your Saturday morning in the fall, football weather and all that, I don't know who wouldn't. But it's going to be nice. I mean, Chicago up to Green Bay, 10, 12 degrees below average. Des Moines, Minneapolis, I mean, nice. This pocket of green here is anywhere from 8 to as much as 12 degrees below average. So very nice temperatures. A little bit of a moderation with the temperatures to the south here. But then this air mass will try to get pretty far south. And I mean, this is around high temperatures for Saturday. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be negative 11 degrees in like Indianapolis. That's not what I'm saying. But these are kind of as far as compared to average or high temperatures. For example, if your average high is 80 degrees in Indianapolis, you could potentially be 11 to 12 degrees below average. So maybe in the upper 60s, low 70s, something like that. So definitely a nice, chilly, cool, fall-like Saturday on the way this coming Saturday for areas of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley. And then this air mass kind of begins to ooze to the southeast. But I think the core of the air mass will be west of the Appalachian Mountains. But, even Sunday, I mean, I wouldn't say chilly, but a very, very comfortable air mass over this portion of the country right here, all the way to the Mississippi Valley, the Ohio Valley. Nice, very nice temperatures in this area. So enjoy it. It looks like, unfortunately for us in the Carolinas, I think we're going to be held below average, but nothing compared to our friends here to the west. Something about these trough orientations, man, they just, they have not been favoring the southeast lately. And we're about to show you that here in a second, but I don't know what's been going on lately with that, but the trough orientations just have only been favoring areas west of the Appalachian Mountains. And I think that's why you guys like from Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the deep south, Tennessee, Kentucky keep getting all the winter storms, but Georgia and the Carolinas and Virginia keep missing out. It's because the troughs are just digging down too far west. That's the biggest issue right now, why we can't get a winter storm to save our lives in the winter here in the southeast. But anyways, enough about that. Don't let me get wound up about that. I'll start to get irritated and jealous. I'm just kidding. It's not that serious. But we start to get into Wednesday morning. Midwest still hanging on some chilly temperatures. It's still pretty warm across the deep south, but we're actually looking at potential low temperatures with this air mass. And then you get into Thursday, moderation of temperatures. I mean, lows only in the low 60s in Minneapolis, but check this out. Look at the cool air mass that comes down. We get into Saturday. These are possible low temperatures, 30s and 40s up here in the upper Midwest. And this cool down will try to get all the way down to Texas too. It definitely will get to Arkansas, Oklahoma. But low temperatures Sunday morning in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, only in the low to mid 60s, so that's good to see. I know you guys have had a brutally hot summer. But of course, the further east you work, the cooler the temperatures. Nice. I mean, you could get sub 70 degrees all the way down to New Orleans, Baton Rouge. And then we get into Monday, even nicer temperatures. Monday morning, you definitely have a shot at getting all the way to the Gulf coastline. Sub 70 degree temperatures, just a nice air mass. I mean, look at these low 50s, even some 40s, all the way down to maybe northern Alabama, Tennessee. So nice conditions for sure. And then as we get about a week from today, temperatures begin to moderate, but still very comfortable for sure. So, but we look at our friends here in the east as far as temperatures, and starting off tomorrow morning. I mean, it's going to be nice all the way down to Atlanta, even tomorrow morning, with a little bit of a northeast flow here, allowing for some cool air with that trough that's progressing eastward. So another chilly morning. You're pretty chilly this morning across the northeast, 40s and 50s. Ohio Valley, nice. Great Lakes region, nice. I mean, even, I'm getting a good 64 degrees here at my house, here in Columbia, potentially. Temperatures begin to moderate, especially in the southeast. Moist air begins to win out as that trough progresses. Still hanging on to nice mornings through Friday morning across the northeast. Then you warm on back up. Saturday morning, it's not. The low temperatures this coming Saturday morning across the southeast won't be that bad. I mean, 60s. You get into South Georgia, Florida, 70s. But, you're unfortunately, if we're trying to time out a cold front with football Saturday, it's not going to time out very well for us in the southeast and the eastern U.S. But don't worry, glory is coming. We get into Sunday. Look at this cold air mass. This is low temperatures, not highs. Low temperatures, folks, well, deep into the 40s, into the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, the Mid-South. And then eventually this kind of begins to ooze east of the Alps, just not as, I would say, cool as areas west of the Alps. But This could change a little bit, but certainly, we get into next Monday morning, a chilly air mass in place. Tuesday morning, the 10th, still hanging around. Wednesday morning, still hanging around. Next Thursday morning, still hanging around. All the way into like next weekend, folks. A pretty nice stretch of weather, I think, is on the way. And this is all because of a trough that's going to dig down, have a cold front associated with it. So this is Thursday morning, the 5th. Okay, we're getting into Friday morning. See this blue blob here? That's a trough of low pressure. Think of it as low pressure. The orange, red on your screen, that's high pressure. Ridging typically brings a lot of sinking, dry, hot air. Low pressure brings unsettled weather and a cold front normally with it. And here comes Friday afternoon. Here comes this trough digging down here with a cold front associated with it. Then we get into Sunday, and it hangs around. It just kind of stays entrenched in our pattern and brings cool air with it. Even, as we're getting into midway next week, like over 6 to 7, 8 days from now, we still got a trough over the Northeast, and it hangs around all the way through 10 days out, even though you just see not yellow. I don't know why I would say yellow, but even though you got white right here, you still have a trough in place. You can see sort of these isobars right in here that's still going like this. This tells me we are still getting a steady feed of chilly air into this area. And I say chilly, I mean more comfortable area. And hopefully we can get this storm system that moves in, bring some unsettled weather 9 to 10 days from now out west. It can not only cool you guys down, but maybe bring you guys some rain because it's getting very dry out here. So that's updated information on the cool down. Now let's talk about what's going on out there weather-wise for today. We do have a lot of beneficial rain falling across Texas. The southern half of Oklahoma. We even got some good rain falling across the northern Rockies. We could use all the rain we can get out here. We got this disturbance kind of flowing out of Ontario into Quebec. We got unsettled weather off the coast of the southeast. Of course, Florida sticks out, so you guys are getting a little bit of tropical moisture this morning. Big feed of tropical moisture continues to feed into the Texas coastline. You guys can get several more inches of rain today. So this is what's going on right now. Watches, warnings, advisories in the hot pink color, that is red flag warnings. You need a lot of rain in these areas if you're in that hot pink color. The burgundy is excessive heat warnings. We got those also in Texas where hot air is coming and is on the way as the ridge kind of shifts its way a little bit to the east. Flood watches across areas of Texas in these orange. Man, I guess I'm just colorblind today or something. Or just don't know my colors. In the green, flood watches are up. And then this sort of more purplish than rather pink color right here and southwest sections of California, excessive heat warnings. We haven't heard from Ron in a while down here in San Diego. I actually emailed him for anybody wondering. If you're thinking, man, I don't know who Ron is. He's a loyal viewer and we hadn't heard from him lately, but he says he's doing good. But he views from San Diego, but it's going to be probably pretty hot down here in Southern California. Heat advisories along the valley, in the valley of California. Out east, it's pretty chill. Not a whole lot going on. Excessive rainfall outlook. We got 2 areas that have a slight risk. One that's kind of centered over the Texas coastline. One right in the middle of Texas. That means you have at least a 15% chance of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles on any given point. You got a couple marginal risk areas too out here, but I don't expect that to be a big deal. The Storm Prediction Center outlook, level 1 out of 5 risk across the northern and central Rockies, almost includes the entire state of Wyoming, the southern half of Montana, northern sections of Utah, a very small section of northwestern Colorado, and just wherever this kind of front is, which is kind of bobbing and weaving down here in the southern sections of the states. South and along that frontal boundary, you can just get some tropical downpours. As far as how severe these storms could be today, just expecting some gusty winds and maybe a little bit of hail. We'll kind of zoom into that area once we get to the western U.S. time frame here. The southeast today, not a whole lot to speak on. Most of the energy stays off the coast of the southeast, but we are going to get tropical downpours really anywhere. Has a possibility of getting them across the state of Florida. Even the Panhandle, as you can tell, near Mobile, Tallahassee, Pensacola, you guys can get some tropical downpours, and they'll just kind of hang out around the coastal regions more so, maybe a few counties inland. You could have a bit of a flooding risk in Florida today with just numerous downpours that'll be ongoing. And then hopefully by this evening, things will calm down a little bit. But not expecting a lot of moisture pretty far north. We could get some downpours up to like Meridian, maybe as far north as like Tuscaloosa. So we'll see about that. But, we get into Wednesday morning, and we could be waking up to some drizzle, a little bit of cold air damming setting up across the Carolinas, and might wake up to some drizzle across the Carolinas Wednesday morning. We'll see about that. So we got on up here to the northeast. It is a very crisp fall-like morning up here. 40s. I mean, even, closer to the big cities of Boston, New York City, all the way down to Philadelphia. 50s. I mean, probably several miles outside the urban heat island, outside the city limits. It's probably into the 40s. Nice. I mean, look how chilly it is up here in Quebec, Ontario. The Adirondacks. I mean, there's probably a couple areas in the Adirondacks that might be sub-freezing temperatures below 32 degrees. Certainly deep into the 30s in some of these areas. So, changing of the seasons is on the way. You folks tuning in from the Northeast, and I know I got a guy up here in Maine that keeps me updated. Let me know. Always like to know what you guys are seeing. Even send me pictures. I would love to get them on Facebook or social media, Twitter, X, whatever they call it. Let me know what you're seeing as far as the leaves turning up here. One of these days, when life can calm down a little bit, I'll plan on going up there with the family and experiencing a New England fall during peak fall foliage. That's always been, a bucket list thing for me. So hopefully one of these days or years I can do it. But the Northeast, as far as weather today, I mean, there's not a whole lot to speak on. A little bit of energy could surge out of Quebec. Bring a little bit of sprinkle activity this evening across western Maine. But folks, outside of that, it's a phenomenal fall-like day up here. Not a whole lot. Enjoy your Tuesday. But down here, really the only main state to speak about is Texas. Just numerous showers and storms across this area. Nothing too real strong or severe. Just consistent rains kind of ongoing and popping up. We'll continue to get this big feed of moisture, as you can tell down here in the Texas coastline. I mean, look, we'll back this up a little bit into Corpus Christi to Matagorda Bay area. Houston, I don't think we'll get as much rain today. I think most of it will be a little bit further down south of you guys down the coastline, but just will continue just to get this onslaught of just shower and storm activity, tropical downpours all the way through tomorrow morning. And then I think, have an opportunity to do it again tomorrow, but I think this will shift back east again. Well, as we get into tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to get rounds of storms and tropical downpours into the Louisiana coastline again, even Mississippi. So rainfall between now and the next 24 hours, going for almost a half a foot of rain from the Matagorda Bay, down to Corpus Christi. It's very possible, folks. Houston won't get a lot of rain today, if any. But, Central Texas is that other highlighted spot, central to west central Texas. A couple inches of rain is possible to likely in these areas. So, north central U.S., another area of the country that will be rather quiet today, this afternoon, getting into this evening, getting into overnight hours, all the way into tomorrow morning. There ain't a whole lot going on. Some shower activity will start to greet you guys in the Dakotas, but folks, there ain't a whole lot to speak on out here at all. So enjoy your day. The Rockies and the western U.S., we're going to get showers and storms that'll swing through Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, the northern half of Utah, even central Utah. And, these could be quite intense, as they're moving out of Utah into Wyoming. We get into this evening, we get into the overnight hours. And, yeah, these could pack a punch, and not to zoom through this, and lightning speed. I will kind of get a little bit closer for you guys up here. But here they come. Karen, you could get some storms today for sure. Loyal viewer out of Montana. And you guys will notice I'll kind of mention names a lot, especially if you tune in a lot. Like I got Karen in Montana. I got Ron and San Diego. I got William and Las Vegas. I mean, I got Mary in Northeast Texas. I got a loyal viewer in Maine. I don't think he has his name up for his user, but I got Steven in the UP of Michigan. A lot of people, there's a lot of people that, that view every single, and I try to mention you guys, and that's how I separate this channel from others. And it's not a knock on anybody else, but I just try to keep that personal feel. But there's a lot of people out there that just tune in all the time, and If I missed anybody, I'll try to remember next time. I'm bad with names, but I'm good with names. It's funny, man. When I'm coaching soccer, somehow I know every single kid's name after the first practice. But there's people at church, and I'm not going to lie, there's people at church that, even in my own life group, that I don't even know their name. Hopefully nobody from my life group is tuning in. They might be, but they know my name, but I just don't know their name. It's not everybody, it's just a few, but it's just the way I guess my brain works. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But numerous showers and storms. We'll have the opportunity to be here in Montana. Northern sections of Wyoming, same thing. So just be aware of this. Some gusty winds, some hail, very possible. Temperatures today, unfortunately, folks in the deep south will hang on to some nasty, humid heat. But once you get into Georgia and the Carolinas, you start to get that dry air, which will continue to funnel in from the northeast today. Nice up here in the northeast, the mid-Atlantic, just 60s and 70s for highs. Same thing up here in the Great Lakes region, just 70s for highs. And out west, this pocket of really hot air up here in the high plains, 90s, 100s are possible to likely, and areas of the Dakotas. So, yeah, that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful day, and yeah, we'll just continue to kind of enjoy these quieter times, folks. I mean, I did not expect September 3rd to be as quiet as it is, but here it is, and I'm just beginning to embrace it. Would I like to be tracking something in the tropics? I would. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. Would I be pulling for it to be a major hurricane and to crash right into land and impact people's lives? Absolutely not. But, I'm a weather nerd, so tracking stuff is what I do with the weather, forecasting stuff. But, at the same time, I feel like it's been a blessing in disguise, as life has just been crazy with soccer and many other responsibilities and things I've been doing, and just having a family life. So, I've been kind of enjoying this kind of easy, like Sunday morning approach to the weather. But things could get crazy fast, so continue to tune in. I appreciate people who do continue to tune in, and I got you covered here. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.